DJ Akademiks just cooked Sneako in the debate.
People have been exterminated. That's caused other people to realize, hey, we got to make sure it never gets to this again because we know what happened last time. This whole let's kumbaya, let's forget. What are you talking about, Sneako?
Which all started with DJ Akademiks calling out Sneako for defending Chud The Builder.
When I see somebody like this, it disgusts me. Anybody who actually could see any nuance in what he's doing, other than that this guy's a piece of shit and racist, I start looking at you. And that's why I'm questioning you.
Sneako has always been a right-wing, anti-black weirdo who has always said slick shit about black people and pushed white supremacist narratives.
When black people say the same exact word, it's a term of endearment. When white people say it, so many people think you should act violently. My point is you have to let go of victim mentality. It holds you back more than any of the control mechanisms that we imagine.
And this debate with Akademiks really exposed how illogical Sneako's thinking is when it comes to black people.
21 Savage could say, my choppa hates, and everyone's like, fine. If a white guy says that, everyone freaks out.
Like, try to tell black people to get over slavery or a word is just a word.
Only holds the meaning that we still attribute to it because slavery is over.
You're saying, so what you just told me, you could disrespect an entire group of people, and your solution to that is that the entire group of people should just not be offended.
But I'm Jew. Welcome to the channel. Please like and share the video. Don't forget to sub. Now, let's get into it.
The point is there's no individual word that equates to that word where you're gonna get the same reaction out of people. There's not
Sneako, you're trying to make it about a word where I've told you this is about blatant disrespect.
I am trying to make it about a word.
And again.
And I said you shouldn't blatantly disrespect people.
Well, that's the point. There's always gonna be a thing that will be disrespectful. You get what I'm saying? It doesn't matter if it's a word, it might be a action that might even not be violent. If he shows up to the mosque and everybody praying on them carpets, he whips on the carpet. Is that disrespectful or not?
That's literally illegal. That's public indecency. Like that's also pissing that like.
All right, he just does it. But it's
and now being in public.
All right, he spits on it. He spits on it. He spits on the rug. What?
Yeah, that's also considered assault.
He assaulted the rug?
Yeah, spitting on people is
no, not on the.
Everything that the dude Chud The Builder is doing should be illegal. He goes into black people's personal space, antagonizes them, calls them racial slurs. Then when they respond to him, he threatens to either mace them or take their lives. The only people defending Chud are just outright racists and white supremacists because they get off on him antagonizing the black community. For Sneako, again, a person of color, to be defending somebody like that is just insane. But then again, when you know Sneako is a MAGA, hard right, white supremacist, contrarian, anti-black person, just like Myron is, then it all makes sense.
What does this have to do with using it?
The point what I'm trying to say is that when it comes to black people finding offense of things that they feel is offensive, you're like, well, why don't y'all just stop being offended by the word? However, if I then showcase a situation where another group of people where someone tries to disrespect them, you can't repurpose the disrespect. You want black people to repurpose the disrespect.
Great. There's a great analogy here. Do you see how you're equating this individual word that doesn't have real meaning unless you...
Every word has meaning. That's the purpose of words.
That doesn't have real meaning unless you... To the holy...
Every word has meaning, brother.
The word of God compared to the word...
If the word has no meaning, if the word has no meaning,
you are equating the word of God to a slur that is outdated.
Okay, yours. All right, you said that the words don't have meaning.
That's the whole point.
What is he talking about? What Akademiks was drawing a parallel to is what is offensive to black people might not be offensive to somebody else. So, for instance, if Chud The Builder went in a mosque and started doing offensive things in a mosque, then Muslims would be offended by it. That's the point he's making. Now, Sneako is weirdly making this about the word of God versus the N-word, when that's not what Akademiks was saying in the first place.
You cannot have those two things.
If you claim words have no meaning,
God is not equivalent to this individual word.
Okay, if you say word has no meaning, say. Oh,
is that what you're saying?
No, I'm asking you. I'm asking you to say it because it should have no meaning, right? There's a fucking meaning to it, right? Clearly, like you wouldn't say that, right? Because there's an intended meaning if you're saying this.
See the point that you're making? How are you equating?
Words have meaning, brother.
How are you equating God? Disrespecting God, the Almighty, something that we have faith in, to something that only has meaning if we attribute meaning to it.
No, that's not how words work. What Akademiks said is, if words have no meaning, which Sneako just said, then you would be able to say, fuck whatever your version of God is, and it doesn't mean anything. And Sneako immediately starts stuttering and talking about something else, because Akademiks is 100% right. All words have meaning. The N-word has meaning. Just because it doesn't impact Sneako, because he's not black. I know his father is Haitian, but he's not a black American. So of course that word means nothing to him. It means nothing to his family, to his relatives that aren't from this country. But it definitely means something to Black Americans because of what we've gone through and are still going through in this country.
God has meaning without us.
But you can't say words have no meaning or they only have the meaning that we give them. But then you're afraid to say words that your God would find offensive because words have meaning. He's devaluing the Black experience. He's devaluing what Black people feel and go through, what Black people care about. That's why he's saying words have no meaning when they're offensive to us.
So this hard R word.
So you can't disrespect God, but you can disrespect a whole group of people.
That you give to it,
brother. You're saying so. What you just told me, you can't disrespect God. Okay, get it, and I agree. But you can disrespect an entire group of people, and your solution to that is that the entire group of people should just not be offended.
This is the creator of the universe versus outdated slur. You cannot equate the two.
Outdated. Sneako's argument makes no sense. Akademiks is literally talking about the meaning of words or words having meaning in the first place. And now Sneako is trying to make this about the existence of God versus the meaning of the N-word when that's not the conversation.
How are you putting those in the same category?
Outdated slur to who?
That's how it should be.
It's outdated to you. Clearly, if you look socially, the majority of people, even outside the Black community, realize that word still holds some meaning. So in your maybe skewed Chud the Builder fanboy mind,
it only holds the meaning that we still attribute to it because slavery is over.
Slavery has been over for 160 years, sure. But Black people are still dealing with the consequences of slavery every single day. We still have to deal with racism. We still have to deal with discrimination. We still have to deal with white America, a federal system built against us that is currently trying to take our voice politically and demolish our voting rights. You can't say slavery is dead and we have to get over something. Well, we're still dealing with the ramifications of it. Black people have been held back economically and have had systems built against us and opportunities taken from us. You can't say slavery is over and everybody get over it without really speaking facts and adding context to that statement. But Sneako is not interested in context for Black people because he does not care about us.
Go back full circle that this word is becoming the most popular word in hip hop. My 21 Savage, my choppa hates. 21 Savage could say my choppa hates. And everyone's like, fine. Yeah. They turn up to it in the club. If a white guy says that, everyone freaks out.
Because the word has historical meaning and nobody outside of our community can police us using a word that was used against us.
It has the same word.
Yo,
it's the same intention.
We've all said that both words, like if you study, and I'm about to butcher this word, etymology, and you know the root of words and how it progresses. It's like if I say, Sneako, your cap, I'm not speaking about this. I'm clearly speaking about the word cap has a different meaning. Right? So hold on. So you keep saying
change the meaning of this word.
Society didn't change the meaning of the word. It's always been a hateful, racist word when coming from white people or non-Black people, especially to attack Black people. Black people embraced that word and made it something different and made it a term of endearment. And there are some Black people, because of the history behind it, that still don't agree with anybody saying the N-word. However, when Black people say it, it is not offensive. It means something different to us. When it comes from anybody else, it is 100% offensive because of the history and context behind it. The fact that Sneako is even trying to argue this in 2026 with everything we got going on just makes him the biggest dork ever.
However, when that naturally happens, it happens. What I'm saying now is that nigga and the hard ER, they mean two very different things. And they're going to get two very different emotions.
Because society moved on, because we allowed them to change their meaning. That's the point.
Society never moved on from the hard R. You don't have to look any further than Twitter, for instance. You can go under any Black person's tweet and there's going to be a white person under that tweet for no reason saying the hard R. That is their default setting. Get mad at a Black person, hard R. Society didn't change that meaning. He keeps saying we changed that meaning and society changed that meaning. Sneako, you're not part of that conversation. Nobody else is outside of the Black community as far as evolving the N-word and changing the meaning to something different, to something non-offensive to us when used by us.
No, you're being so...
Let go of these societal...
The people who are offended by...
Let go of the hurt.
So we have to get over racism. We have to let go of discrimination. We have to let go of segregation. We have to let go of Jim Crow and slavery. We have to let it go and get over it. That's crazy work. Nobody outside the Black community can dictate how we should feel about our experience in this country.
All right, so the Palestine should let go of the goddamn hurt that Israel doing to them. Let it go. The fuck?
The fact that you're not able to comprehend.
No. You're saying that.
Nobody tells the Jewish community to get over the Holocaust and let it go. Nobody tells the Japanese community to get over internment camps, to let it go. That experience doesn't matter anymore. Black people are the only ones that are ever told that we need to get over slavery. It happened hundreds of years ago. Why are you still talking about it? As if history doesn't matter, especially when black people, freed slaves, were never given restitution. We were never given reparations. We were never made whole by a country that took everything from us, but they have no problem paying anybody else reparations, just black people. And then we're supposed to get over it when we're starting from ground zero with the whole system built against us, while white America and American wealth is built off the back of slavery.
People should let go of the hurt, but I'm saying, you own that Palestine shit, them let go of the hurt. How the fuckery that goddamn Israel them been putting them through.
How this is such a dumb analogy. This is
how?
Genocide's happening now. Slavery ended how long ago?
No, slavery more important than whatever happened with that shit. I ain't gonna lie.
No, what? 250 years ago, slavery ended 160 years ago. And even after slavery ended, a lot of those Confederate states still did not let free black people go for years. And even after that, they were robbed of opportunities. They were kept broke. They were kept poor. A lot of them still ended up working on the same plantations that they were freed from. The Voting Rights Act passed to support black people voting 60 years ago.
Slavery ended, 250 years ago? The genocide's happening right now. And also, there's no word to talk about Palestinians the same way there is about black people.
Listen.
If one atrocity is happening to one people and they don't have to get over it, why do black people have to get over an atrocity happening to us? Again, the Holocaust happened 80 years ago for a span of 10 to 12 years. Nobody is telling the Jewish community to get over the Holocaust, but black people are expected to get over slavery when it ended 160 years ago and went on for hundreds of years. Generations and generations and generations of black people that were slaves, that were born and bred into slavery. We are the only people on this earth that has had to suffer through generational slavery, but we're expected to get over it. That's such a stupid anti-black view.
If you think that black people should let go the hurt of slavery, I think them Palestinians should let go the fucking hurt of them bombs that got dropped.
Okay, it's happening right now, and also you're saying a word.
I'm actually saying that to say nobody's gonna ever let go of their hurt.
This isn't.
No. It makes sense. No one's gonna let go of their hurt, right? The Palestinians ain't gonna let go
of their hurt all the time. People let go. Why do you think white people aren't offended by the word?
Would hurt have white people in America ever suffered that they needed to get over? What is Sneako talking about? He's really exposing himself for how out of touch he is.
Asian people aren't.
What hurt they went through? I want to hear this one. Hold on, I got to take a shot. I wasn't even gonna drink this stream. I want to hear the hurt the white people went
through. Some white people probably get offended by being compared to slave owners.
No. We're talking about history and hurt. Okay?
Yeah.
Like, for example, 200 years from now, for the Palestinians, the hurt of what's happening now will be felt. Same with the Jewish people for the Holocaust.
Individual word. You still haven't given an individual word.
He keeps moving the goalposts. Now he's talking about an individual word when we're talking about the hurt and experience behind the word. He's telling black people to get over the hurt of slavery when Akademiks is bringing up examples of other people that aren't being told to get over the hurt of something, because Sneako can't answer that. And now he's circling back to make it about the N-word.
You're now still stuck over the word because you can't argue about the intended meaning. The intended meaning is to tap back into the hurt that word stands for.
Yep.
All right. And my point is that there's no other word in the English language that has that much emotion attached to it other than that word.
Because nobody else has gone through chattel slavery. Nobody else has had the experience that black Americans have in this country. That's why there's no other word that has that same deep, hurtful meaning.
We got to start like revoking like all these nigga passes, because
there shouldn't be no passes, and black people definitely need to gatekeep our culture and community, because letting goofballs like Sneako in and feel comfortable enough to tell black people how we should feel and how we should proceed is insanity.
No, I got a better one for you. I got a better one for you.
It is.
No, I got a better one for you then. If you think they're the same word, why don't you get up on here, or when you're talking to people, don't say nigga, say nigga. Why don't you do it?
I don't want to hurt.
No. So you're admitting they're two different words. So why don't you use them interchangeably? Why don't you use them interchangeably?
Especially if words have no meaning.
Because it's going to make you upset. I don't want to hurt you.
Oh, so you're agreeing that they mean different things, or they would like that? That's what words are. if one word would evoke a different feeling than another word, are they the same word?
The point is, you should not allow it to evoke the same feeling. Why would you let a word have that power? Disarm it. It only has the power that you give it. The same way that word's
Yo, bro, you sound like Ye when he said slavery's a choice. Like, yo, what's up with you, bro? Like, you're now blaming the people who are offended.
He's blaming the oppressed people for being mad at being oppressed, for being mad at the remnants of hate being used against us and us being up in arms and mad about it. That's crazy work.
Rather than the people who are choosing to offend. Like, they're going out of their way to choose to offend. Please. Yeah. Even going back to your point. So the hardy are, right? They have made a relative word that's just nigga that is more, oh, hey, we're going to try to strip some of the, historical slavery past and we're going to try to make it a cool type of colloquial. You're going to still defend the other shit?
I'm saying that the hardy are should be used colloquially the same way that nigga has been.
He sounds so stupid and out of his depth. Sneako is not from the black community. He should not be speaking for the black community or even having the nerve to tell us what we need to do, what we need to accept, and what we need to get over.
It's the most powerful word in the English language.
It's the most
direct. Why it's used over hip-hop.
Hold on. I'm gonna lie to you. This is probably the most pro-black I've ever sounded. Because you're
facts, because he's defended Aiden Ross, which I still have problems with. But he's actually spitting facts in this debate with Sneako.
Actually, I'm like, really, but this Chud dude, he's literally like anybody who actually agrees with him is all about regressing in racial relationships. And I think we're at a decent place.
We are not at a decent place. This whole entire administration is trying to devastate the black community. They're trying to take our economic power. They're trying to take our political voice. They are trying to take our rights and opportunities. You can say as a society, we all generally get along. We can all be out shopping together in the same mall, in the same store, and it's not an issue or anything like that. But if you look at what's really being done policy-wise to the black community, there's a very clear attack on us.
And white people ain't beefing. I like that. You know what I mean? So when I see somebody like this, it disgusts me. And anybody who actually could see any nuance in what he's doing, other than that this guy's a piece of shit and racist, I start looking at you. And that's why I'm questioning you, because I'm like, you seem to be seeing clear what's going on over with Palestine and Israel. Nigga, you don't live there. You ain't even been in have you been to Israel? Have you been to Israel? Have you been to Israel?
No, I haven't.
Okay. Have you been to motherfucking whatever they call Palestine? You been there?
What is the argument here?
The point is that I'm over here, and I'm talking about socially to make sure that what's going on in our country, especially with race relations, because it's been one of the most things that has torn us apart as a country. And when I see any hint of that, I don't like it. And you're over here talking about this genocides going on overseas. Like, man.
I think that's a really good point that Akademiks brought up. Sneako made his whole brand about Palestine and speaking up for Palestine. But in the same breath, Sneako is basically saying fuck black people and supporting a racist white supremacist harassing us. So basically, the Akademiks point, how can you support people being discriminated against, for lack of better words? Let's just call it discrimination, even though what's happening in Palestine is way worse. In a land that you have no connection to, that you've never been, but here you are in this country laughing at a whole entire population of people being discriminated against and attacked racially, and that being spread online. It's hypocritical.
If Charleston White says the word, no one gets angry. If Chud the Builder says it, everybody gets angry. If you
Charleston White is black, what? Sneako's being obtuse on purpose. He is. He really is.
Actually want equality, then words for any race have the same meaning. That's equality. You say you're pro-black, I'm pro-human. Humans altogether should not allow this to divide us. How are you letting a word divide you and put into separate places? When black people say the same exact word, it's a term of endearment. When white people say it, so many people think you should act violently.
That's such a stupid take. Black people aren't inciting violence. Black people aren't saying a word that is offensive to other communities to purposely offend them. White people, Chud the Builder, are doing that to black people. So how about you talk to those racist, white supremacists that are attacking the black community with that word, not us when we're not doing anything to them. If you want equality, the real equality should be understanding where somebody else is coming from and respecting their boundaries and not offending them. That's what equality will be. Not, oh, this community has a word that they can say and I want to say it too. It's free speech. That's not equality.
That is segregation.
So you do realize that if someone who is oppressed does a action or mimics an action that the oppressor does, it's not the same thing. For example, if
you think black people are still, how are black people being oppressed right now?
Historically, black people are probably one of the most hold on. Wait.
Now.
Well.
Right now.
You're always going to feel remnants of it.
I don't want to live in a victimhood mentality. I don't want to live in the past.
All right, no.
It's not a victimhood mentality, and that's what him and Myron say. That's a white supremacist take. That if you talk about the issues impacting your community historically, from slavery, from segregation, from Jim Crow, from discrimination, from redlining, from not being approved for loans to buy a house or to go to school because you're black, not getting jobs because you're black, that's not victim mentality. That's talking about facts and the problem still facing us as a people.
You can't write the history of America without understanding what slavery has done to this entire country. It's a reason why the inner cities. Okay, so because hold on. So even if I'm, and maybe some people would definitely argue that it still exists now. Even if I don't argue that, I would argue that everything we see now, when we look back 2 generations ago, you basically are going to see clear side effects.
Hold on.
Right now, you can look at predominantly black areas, black communities still being underfunded from their states or federally. You can look at black schools being underfunded, not having after-school programs or activities. Meanwhile, in other areas, there is funding for school lunches, for activities, for parks and recreation centers, for nicer housing. That's all still things that affect the black community till this day.
2 generations ago. I'm talking about right now, not all in the past and the,
Brother, you can't write the history of the United States.
Let's talk about right now.
You cannot write the history.
The BLM thing. We don't need to do BLM wokeism.
No. The history has to be respected and always acknowledged. The same way how when it comes to the Jewish people, their history of how they were persecuted with the Holocaust has to be respected and acknowledged.
And the Jewish community, survivors of the Holocaust, I think their descendants are still receiving payments from the Holocaust. I think they've paid like $95 billion to the Jewish community since World War II. But Sneako doesn't want to take that into context of how one community could be doing better than another economically or socially. He's being very selective with who has to get over something and who doesn't.
These things are the reasons why they're living how they're living, and we living how we living. And 200 years from now, the Palestinians will be living how they're living. That's the reality of it. This whole this shit is over, get over it. Like, what are you talking about? Like, come on. What are you talking about, bro?
My point is you have to let go of victim mentality. It holds you back more than any of the control mechanisms that we imagine.
If you don't know the past, you'll be destined to repeat it. Black people don't ever have to let go of slavery, of Reconstruction, of Jim Crow, of civil rights, of everything we've gone through in this country, because it's made us who we are. It's why we're such a tight-knit group. It's why our community is what it is. We don't have to let go of anything because somebody outside of our community doesn't want to hear it, or it's an inconvenient truth to them. And if anything, remembering that history makes our successes and our achievements even more significant and greater.
Sneako, you're arguing a point I never said. I never said nothing about victim mentality.
The only way to get rid of this and get rid of the hurt is to move on. If you live in the past.
Says somebody that didn't have to go through hurt. How are you going to tell somebody that's oppressed, that's been a victim, that they have to get over something?
If you hold on to a victim mentality, you never let the hurt heal. Let it heal.
Yo, Sneako, if somebody smoke your mama, you let it go?
Okay. Dude,
no, on some real shit, because it sounds stupid for you to tell people to let go of the hurt. You don't think you sound
Ultimately, you should. That is the way to grow.
You see, he never answers Akademiks questions. Akademiks has actually been on point and asked some really good questions this whole debate. And instead of Sneako ever answering those questions directly, he changes the direction of the conversation and talks about something different. Akademiks asked a very good question. If somebody kills your mom, are you just going to get over it and let it go? No, nobody would. That hurt is going to live with you, and probably your kids, and probably your spouse, because it's something you're going to carry with you for the rest of your life.
Is to let go and to forgive. That is growth. That is how you get over it. Holding on to hate
Sneako, you talking ideals? You always, this is your issue. You always talking like this ideal type of thing. Yo, the history of the world, the history of the fucking world is actually shaped by historical events that have never let go. It's the reason why right now you go to Germany, you even throw up a goddamn anywhere, they're making sure you're out of there. You know why? Mm-hmm. History just doesn't right away and everybody forgets and, oh, we all forgiven, we're healing. People ain't Sneako. What the fuck? Like the whole world is shaped by pain, wars, is shaped by shit that has changed the trajectory of life. People have been exterminated. That's caused other people to realize, hey, we got to make sure it never gets to this again because we know what happened last time. This whole let's kumbaya, let's forget. What are you talking about, Sneako?
It's not kumbaya. This is the way forward.
Akademiks actually washed Sneako this whole debate. He cooked him. Sneako had no answers for anything Akademiks was saying. He didn't make sense with anything. He sounded stupid. Racist making me agree with Akademiks wasn't on my bingo card. Right, Sneako is a clown. Nobody can argue that at this point. When Akademiks is on the side of reason, you're fucking up. Yeah, Sneako made Akademiks look like a genius. Edgy guy says words have no meaning until it's the thing he likes that gets made fun of. Story old as time. Sneako came out of that debate looking horrible, looking out of touch, looking racist, looking anti-black, and just straight up corny. The fact that anybody outside the black community, especially a person of color, has the gall to tell black people to get over 400 years of slavery and all of the atrocities that happened to the black community after that is ridiculous and tone deaf. And Sneako should be ashamed of himself, but he's not because he's anti-black to start with. But shout out to my channel members. Thank you so much for supporting and thanks for watching. Y'all let me know what you think about all this in the comments. Also, make sure you check out the next video and don't forget to follow me on Instagram for behind the scenes and life stuff. And I'll catch you next time. Peace.